a certain level of frugality gets to a point where it really starts messing with your mental health. And I've been on both sides of the coin, which is why I can offer this perspective. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra, and I make videos on money and minimalism. So I've been on a big kick on making these how-to videos, sharing all my secrets of success with my Cobra babies. So today's video is going to be 6 wealth building habits that I've used that have brought me to 6 figures in the bank account, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And I hope that these could have helped you. Full disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. These are just things that work for me. I can't guarantee that they'll work for you, but they might kind of give you some ideas or a framework, and that's always a win. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it. Let's go. Woo! Okay, so coming in at number 1, so buying things to fix insecurities. This one's a pretty recent one. I had my year of abundance, and in my year of abundance, I bought everything that I wanted, all the goodies, and it didn't fix the things I thought I was gonna fix. Like, don't get me wrong, I was really happy when I bought them and for a couple months after, but slowly the magic wore off, and I was already thinking of new things I wanted to buy, and I was I think it might be more effective to just address the insecurities. That's the advice I could give if you are on a wealth building journey. If you want to be better with your money, if you want to be chic and you want to be frugal, sometimes you really got to look in the mirror and you really got to address and be honest with yourself. What are the things that are driving some of your more spendy purchases? Are they coming from a place of pain? And I think that would help a lot, especially because I've been watching a lot more finance videos, and a lot of people say I had this insecurity, so that's why I bought this is why I bought that. There's actually one good YouTuber who actually mentions this. So her handle is Don't Be a Lemon, and she did talk about that during her more shopping days. A lot of things that she bought were to try and fix things that she felt uncomfortable, and I thought that really resonated with me, because I think that's what drove a lot of my purchasing before I became a minimalist in my early 20s, and then again during my year of abundance. The core element was I just wanted to be that girl, but I think that I realized if I think I'm that girl, I don't need to prove my worth by buying material possessions, and that has really freed me. So I offer that up to my Cobra babies, because I think that money aside, a lot of our purchasing is driven through psychology, so understanding the self will really help a lot. Okay, coming in at number 2, buying things you cannot afford or putting it on credit. So this one is a big no-no, and I do understand that if you do know more about money, there is definitely a difference between good credit and bad credit, but we're not going to get into that. If you're at that stage, you probably don't need to be watching this video. The thing that I do that has really helped me with wealth building was telling myself that if you can't afford it, don't buy it. And I would actually use this little trick, which was if you can't afford 2 of them, you can't afford 1 of them. And that really helped me a lot, because there's a lot of things that I could buy at least 1 of them. I could stretch myself and buy 1 of them. But then if I had to ask myself the question of can you afford 2 of them? I couldn't afford 2 of them. So that's the reason why it took me a long time to finally buy the iPhone, because I was can you buy 2 of them? Straight out, can you buy 2 of them? So it wasn't until I could buy 2 iPhones that I allowed myself to buy 1. And the other thing was I told myself, you can't put it on credit. If you can't straight out buy it straight, especially if it's a liability and not an asset, something that doesn't make you money, I was you're not putting that on credit. Can you afford it straight out? And I use that as a benchmark for things that I can and cannot afford, because it's a really slippery slope. I feel companies try to get you with this whole 4 easy payments of, or put it on credit, or interest free. And don't get me wrong, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think that can be so dangerous, because you may feel I can afford the payments, but you can't really afford the full item. And again, I'm not telling you no. I want you to live in a world of abundance. It's not a no, it's just a not right now. And that framework has helped me tremendously. It's helped me put me ahead. It's helped me save money, invest money, and not saying no to the goodies that I wanted. I used the goodies that I wanted as the carrot to the horse, and I would save and save and save, so that when I finally did buy something, it was coming from a place of abundance, and not a place of oh god, I stretched myself to buy that, but there went rent money. You know what I mean? Okay, coming in at number 3. So not having any savings and not having an emergency fund. That is so dangerous. I think that a lot of these more further down the line type of tips are great, but if you do not have a savings, or even an emergency fund, or what they call a rainy fund, I don't know, for me personally, I don't know how people handle it. I've always felt a lot more comfortable having a safety net, knowing that if something should happen, I can always pull from that. And I learned this during the pandemic. Will and I didn't work for an entire year. We used to work when we were in med school, but that year where we didn't work for an entire year and we were burning through our savings during the pandemic really taught me this hard lesson of thank God we had savings. And so you don't know what'll happen. I couldn't have predicted the pandemic, hence why emergency fund. So what I think is it's important to have fun and give yourself little treats, but if you are running around naked without a savings or without an emergency fund, and you are serious about wealth building, before you do anything else, before you invest, before you pay off loans, put some pants on and give yourself a savings. And I don't know what works for you. Everybody's benchmark is different. In the community, I've heard like 3 to 6 months worth of like savings is helpful. And I do agree. Like, you're going to sleep so much better. You're going to have less stress. You're going to be able to say no to things. You can make better decisions. You're not operating from a place of like fear, scarcity, stress. You're going to make way better decisions. So if nothing else, I would really, really highly recommend make a savings account or have an emergency fund if you do not have that. Okay, coming in at number 4. So focusing, and this is a mistake, but focusing on savings rather than earnings. So this was something that I like 100% stood behind, especially when I was like more hardcore minimalist. I really thought that like it didn't really matter how much you made if the most important thing was you saved most of what you made. But the problem with that was, and this is the trap, and there's always nuances to this because a lot of people do always say like it doesn't matter how much you make. If you make $1 million, you spend $1 million, like did you even make $1 million? We're not talking about that. We're just kind of talking about the fundamental idea of like sometimes, and I say this because like from personal experience as a minimalist, and since my Cobra babies, a lot of you guys are minimalists. If you are super focused on like saving and like budgeting and like trying to stretch a dollar, I think that's great. Definitely 100%. That's a great skill. But if you don't develop the other muscle, which is like you got to learn to like make a bit more money, it's just like not a great place to be. I think that a certain level of frugality gets to a point where like it really starts messing with your mental health. And I've been on both sides of the coin, which is why I can offer this perspective. So I think you do need both. Like no one's saying be lavish, don't save. I'm just saying that like I think it's great that if you want to save, but if you have gotten to the point where you're like stretching yourself as far as you possibly can and you're going insane, it might be time to focus some of that energy in figuring out, can I get a side hustle? Can I get a part-time job? Can I ask for a raise? Is it time to switch jobs? Can I look into earning more income? Because there's a limit to how much you can save. But, and this is like a world of abundance, there's no limit to how much you can earn. Coming in at number 5. So a job or a business, money is money. So as somebody who got this far, I would say kind of like in the middle-ish between what I have is kind of like a job, but also kind of a business. But I did save a good portion of what I was making while I still had a job. So I really hate this narrative of like, you know, F your 9 to 5 and everyone should start a business. Honestly, not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur. I think being an entrepreneur is like insane work. Like when you have a boss, there is a certain level of comfort. They do kind of take care of you. As long as you like show up and you're like a half decent employee, you're guaranteed your paycheck at the end of the week or the end of the month. But when you're an entrepreneur, oh my God, there's like so much stress. Like if you don't hustle and you don't work, you don't get paid. So I think that at the end of the day, I think this would be really good for your mental health, especially if you're not an entrepreneur. Don't feel bad when you see people are like, oh, the only way to get rich is to have a job. That's not true. You can take the money that you make if you're responsible from your 9 to 5 and you can funnel it into your savings account. You can put it into your TFSA, your RRSP, your FHSA, like your financial buckets, into a brokerage account. There's a lot of financial things that you can do before you feel like you need to pull the trigger and quit your 9 to 5 and start a side hustle or start entrepreneurship. I would say like make sure you have the aptitude for it before you like jump ship. I think at the end of the day, money is money. If you are making money, I think that's fantastic. You should take the money that you have and you should allocate certain funds towards paying off student loans, car payments, paying yourself. And paying yourself means like looking at financial baskets. If you are scared to start with finances, I actually have some videos that I've made coming up. I was always kind of scared to talk about money and I was like, oh, I don't want to talk about money. I don't know how people are going to take this. But I've gotten to a point where I'm like, you know what? I think I've said everything I had to say about minimalism. I'm like, we need to start talking about money. So I do have some videos coming along for budgeting and for stocks. I'm going to share as much as I can on this channel for free with you guys. And honestly, you don't have to wait for me. You can definitely go check those videos out on your own. There's plenty online. But my point is, it's okay to make money from a job or from a business. Either or, doesn't matter. But just respect that when you make money, take a portion of that money and pay yourself first. Stop spending all your money on shopping, going out to eat, who knows what other distraction, and pay yourself first. Pay the bank of you first. That's extremely important because you work so hard for your money. Stop spending it on useless junk. Coming in at number 6, learn about investments. So I think learning about investments is extremely important, especially in this day and age, because our dollar is inflationary. They print more money, which makes your dollar worth less. And I think you can already see that in the 60s, you could buy a burger for a couple cents, for a couple quarters. A burger now is like $10. So it is really important to learn the importance of investments. And there's all types of investments. You can look into stocks. You can look into real estate. You can look into just like investment in education in general, which is like investing in yourself, learning a new skill, learning to do some other thing that's outside of your job. You don't always need to think that the only function of money is to just like pay bills and go shopping. While those two things are part of daily life, I really do believe, if you've never heard this narrative before, you can use money to make money. You can use money to make money in your sleep, and you can use money to set yourself free. The way that I think about it, something that's like really helped me a lot, is that like we live in the matrix, and figuring out that money can make more money is like taking the red pill. That's how you exit the matrix. That's how you like free yourself. You free yourself from a place of like scarcity, a place of like fear. You detach that fear from money, and you realize, hey, you know what, like I can use money to buy myself freedom. And I think that that is so invaluable. And I do want to make more videos on learning about stocks. I don't own real estate. That's a decision that I personally made, but you can definitely learn about real estate. Most people in my life, actually, their form of investment, they like real estate. They swear by real estate because their idea is that like you can't buy more land, or we can't make more land, we're stuck on planet Earth. But I do think stocks is a great place to get in. It's a great beginner tool because you don't have to start with like a large capital. You can buy like small shares and build your way up from there. So, and the other thing that I like is that like you can also invest in yourself, like education. Like you don't have to go to university. There's a bunch of like digital courses out there. Find one within your price point that's offering something that you'd like to do, or even just go on YouTube for free. Like you can invest in yourself. Like YouTube, there's a plethora of like free content out there. If you are serious about your wealth building habits, there's so much free content out there. I would highly recommend getting out an agenda or a notebook and recording all of that, because at the end of the day, investing in you is the best investment. Yes, the S&P 500 has a return of 10%, but investing in the S&P of me is always the best investment. Thank you for watching, my little Cobra babies. I hope you guys could have enjoyed this wealth building video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.